Hello, and welcome back to Hocking Valley Community Hospital's 55 Ways to a Better Me. I'm Katy Kudlapur, and I'm excited to be with you here today. I am going to be talking with you about inflammation and some of the causes of that in our body and how we can protect ourselves better. So inflammation may conjure up in your mind thoughts of maybe a sore throat or a swollen ankle, or maybe a wound or a cut that we take pride in knowing that our immune system kicks into gear and helps relieve these things. And that's a wonderful thing with a healthy immune system. But interestingly, our lifestyle and some of the things that we choose or don't choose to do and be a part of can affect our immune system in a negative way. So let's say maybe some unhealthy choices that we might take part in with our food or perhaps our environment. Those decisions we make can stimulate the immune system in a very small trickling way to create inflammation over time. So let me give you an example. If maybe you notice in your lifestyle that you are eating maybe more high fat, high carb foods, perhaps donuts and coffee in the morning and a fatty cheeseburger for lunch. Maybe you eat ice cream before you go to bed, and get into some of those type of cyclic habits. Our immune system is going to respond to those type of things and trickle out little bits of basically creates inflammation over time. And this is not something that you're going to notice right away, but eventually can create problems. And it may start to show up initially with stiff, painful joints, maybe tired looking skin. But eventually, when we don't take some control of our lifestyle, and I gave you food choices there, but we also can be affected by our environment. Eventually, these menacing amounts of inflammation in our body can lead to bigger things and affect our organs, and might show up as heart disease or cancer or even Alzheimer's disease. So it's pretty significant. And it really is almost like a silent enemy. So in a controlled state, oxygen in our body actually fuels health. But again, some of the things that come into our life through unhealthy choices can cause, and I won't get too technical, but can cause free radicals to come into, be released into our body. And I mention this because many of the foods that are available, you will see the label of having antioxidants. Now, you've probably noticed that and maybe not thought much of it. But there are foods that have higher antioxidant levels that help to kind of fight these free radicals in our diet. And so incorporating more of those type of things and decreasing some of the unhealthy things that lead to more inflammation is really the goal with our food. Now, our environment also plays a part, and some internal environment. So let me give you some examples. High calorie foods, particularly large amounts of carbohydrates, unhealthy fats. When I say unhealthy, what we're wanting to avoid is a large amount of saturated fats in our animal fats. We want to also avoid overcooked and charred food. These have inflammatory agents in them, or in this, so believed. So we want to try to decrease these foods that create inflammation. As far as environment goes, our environment can affect inflammation as well. So if you are exposed to chemicals, allergens, we want to try to create an environment where those are less in our environment. Even decreasing stress, things that create stress. When we feel stressed physically, internally, our body responds by increasing inflammation. And then finally, our internal environment. So if we are having chronic infections, maybe sinus problems, we aren't sleeping well, lack of motion, a sedentary lifestyle, and even depression creates, again, a trickling of that inflammatory response that initially may not be a big deal, but over time, again, creates problems in our organs, and something we want to be aware of. So now that we're aware that inflammation is spurred by internal factors, external factors, and the types of food we eat, what are some things that we can do to shift from inflammatory state to less inflammatory and more wellness? And just a word about our activity. Really, sitting is believed to be one of the most ignored health risks. If you find yourself sitting long periods of the day, we really should be getting up and moving around every 20 to 30 minutes, even if it's walking into another room. Maybe standing through a commercial of your shows, if you watch commercials anymore, and just being intentional about standing more than sitting, and then ideally getting into some motion like walking. Okay, so what we can do is improve our environment by what I just said with motion, decreasing your allergens. Maybe that's something you need to talk with your doctor about, of getting your some allergic responses under control. And think about what might be around your home, even chemically, that you can reduce or stay away from. Maybe if your lawn is sprayed or your house is sprayed for bugs, that you just stay away from that area for a good 24 hours and don't have that done more than necessary. Believe it or not, this will affect our health. But focusing on food, something that we do have some control over. We've talked about maybe what to avoid. Let's talk about what things are good for us to help decrease inflammation. So as you can tell, overall healthy habits will decrease inflammation and help us live our better life. So when we think about carbohydrates in our diet, some good things to decrease inflammation so that our joints feel better, swelling is less, and we decrease our risk for heart disease, cancer, and Alzheimer's disease. We want to keep our carbohydrates more on the low glycemic end. I talked about that a couple months ago. So not, watching how much sugar you have in your diet. Yellow, red, and orange fruits and vegetables are full of antioxidants, which help to decrease the inflammation. That's something we have some control over. And vitamin C is good in our diet. And also berries, blueberries, dark cherries, grapefruit, and blackberries. All of those things are good carbohydrate-wise. Fats, Believe it or not, olive oil is really kind of the prize winner as far as inflammatory powers. Olive oil isn't for everything, but it is right up there with a positive decrease in inflammation. Flaxseed, canola, and walnut oil also can be good things to incorporate into your diet. When it comes to fish and fish oils, omega-3 fatty acids, fish such as mackerel, sardines, salmon, tuna, scallops, those are good to incorporate. I mean, I think the recommendation is at least twice a week trying to incorporate these types of fish into your diet. And then finally, there are some other things that you can incorporate into your diet that have an antioxidant effect, again, decreasing inflammation, is to use herbs for seasoning. We don't want to overdo salt. So maybe adding some herbs into your food. It can even be grown at home. Tea, and that's whether it's black tea or green tea. Teas are good, and they're a powerful anti-inflammatory agent. Chocolate, specifically dark chocolate, maybe a small amount daily, has been shown to have some antioxidant effect. And then red wine has been noted to have an antioxidant effect on you as well. So as you can see, there are things that we do have some control over in our lives to decrease inflammation, and therefore the benefit being feeling better and having more energy, not such stiff joints, just feeling less swelling, better overall, so that our immune system can work when it needs to, but decreasing that trickle of molecules on a daily basis that respond to stress and poor eating choices. So I'll leave you with that I want you to think about healthier choices wherever you're at. Maybe you're already making good choices, but keep in mind some of the antioxidant foods that you can incorporate in your environment, staying well, seeing your physician or nurse practitioner when you need to for your wellness, and decreasing your exposure to things that are not in your best interest, because over time, these type of things break down our body, and we can make a better choice in our environment and our eating choices to decrease inflammation and help us live a better life. So I hope you have a great day, and I thank you for joining us today.